This is Kathy from Gadget Stop 321. In today's video, I'm taking a look at Robert Oster Aussie Liquid Gold. This is a shimmer ink. It's yellow with gold shimmer and just a very interesting ink, very pearlescent. I'm going to be testing this ink in a variety of pens and nibs ranging from a Pilot Extra Fine to a 1.5 stub nib. And I'm going to start with the Extra Fine. This is a Pilot 78G Plus. And let's see what this looks like. Alright, it is scratchy and not very legible. Now, instead of scratchy, I would just call this, I'm going to go ahead and label that it feels dry. It doesn't necessarily feel scratchy, like I don't feel the tines catching on the paper like I do with some inks, but it's just, unpleasant. Unpleasantly dry. Alright, next I've got a Pilot Pereira with a fine nib. With most inks, this will be noticeably smoother, so let's see. Still unpleasant. Just like with the Extra Fine, it's not scratchy. It just feels extremely dry to the point of being unpleasant. Alright, let's see how the medium nib does. I've got another Pilot 78G Plus with this time with a medium nib. It's smoother. It's more tolerable than the first two, but still unpleasantly dry. Alright, I've got a Pilot Pereira with a cursive medium. Still dry. Now this nib it's not uncommon for it to, it's a drier writing nib, this cursive medium, but it's not always unpleasant. Sometimes it's very smooth, but it wasn't scratchy, but it did feel unpleasantly dry. Alright, I've got a Nemesign Singularity with a 0.6 stub nib. Normally this is quite a bit wetter than the previous nibs. Okay. This is nice. It's smooth, it's puts a nice amount of ink down. Alright. I'm going to put a heart beside this one. That's a good combination. And finally, I've got a Jinhao X750 with a 1.5 stub nib. Looks like it skipped there. All right, you can see the base color is a very bright yellow. It doesn't look like it skipped it. This is just such a pale ink. Sometimes it's hard to see when it first goes down. Okay, I'm going to let that dry a little bit and we'll take a look at some other papers. Now, I had done a yellow ink comparison earlier, and so I went ahead and added the Aussie liquid gold excuse me, to this page. This is the most yellow of all of these. It's very similar. The base color is similar to Pent Lemon, but Pent Lemon is just so saturated that where the ink gets laid down in larger amounts, it turns kind of a brownish color. So you get a darker overall writing. This is truly yellow for the most part, and then you've got that gold sheen on top of it. It's kind of a fun ink once you get the right nib. I wrote this with the Nemesign. Okay, let's see. On my little ARC notebook, I didn't write dry on these like I did with the Tomoe River. They weren't to the point of me writing unpleasantly dry, but they weren't smooth and they weren't scratchy. They were just tolerable. Now, the Pilot Pereira was the driest of all of these, and let me see. The Pilot Pereira is the only one that, well, you can still see the shimmer. It's just very faint. All of the others, the shimmer shows up pretty good, but in these finer nibs, you know, there's just less ink, so the shimmer doesn't jump out as much as it does, say, in the stub nibs. Yeah, that's pretty nice. All right. On my Rhodia paper, the fine nibs felt dry. They didn't look, well, the extra fine doesn't look great. The fine looks okay, but it was just to the point of being unpleasant. The rest of them, the medium and the cursive medium were so-so. And then the stubs, they're always, you know, they put down so much ink, they're always pretty pleasant. But look at that. Even the extra fine, you can see the shimmer on that. But again, the Pereira puts down less ink, so there's not as much shimmer as there is with the other nibs. On my copy paper, 20-pound copy paper, you can see the shimmer. The extra fine was scratchy. The fine and the cursive medium were dry and kind of unpleasant. The medium was just, you know, tolerable. And then the stub nibs, they were okay. And I'm not really, I guess, because it's got that heavy sheen in it, it doesn't tend to feather. And the only one that really bled through was the 1.5 stub nib. The others did really well not bleeding through. Okay, in my Leuchtturm, let me see which way do I have to turn it? There we go. Some nice shimmer. Looks nice. Well, I think I like it on white paper better than the off-white, but it's still, looks not bad. Let's see. And finally, on the Tomoe River paper, the sheen, look at that, it just shows up really well in every nib. Even the Pereira, it's showing up really well. It's a drier ink. So my favorite was that Nemesis. And I am considering, since my Singularity won't hold ink regardless of whether I put a cartridge in it or if I put a converter in it, the ink just drips out of the nib. So I've been looking for a pen that uses number 6, that fits number 6 nibs to put one of these nibs in. I've got 2 of these 0.6 stubs, and that's what I'm doing right now. I'm looking around for a nice pen to place that nib in. All right, if you found this video helpful, please give me a thumbs up, and if you'd like to see more videos like this, please subscribe to my channel.